Thank you very much for staying on the marketplace today with me, Emmanuel Abuaji Riafi. Now, let's settle for the very fair story where the Ministry of Aviation has finally settled on international carrier Ethiopian Airlines as its strategic partner for the creation of the long-awaited home-based carrier. This follows a signing of a memorandum of understanding between Ghana and the CEO of Ethiopian Airlines, Tewode Gebre Mariam, at the Ethiopian Airlines headquarters in Addis Ababa yesterday. Kwabenochi Dakumensa is Deputy Minister for Aviation and has been giving some details of this agreement.
At exactly around 3 p.m., the Minister for Aviation, Honorable Joseph Kofi Adda, signed the initial part of the process with Ethiopian Airlines as an MOU, which is expected to be developed further into a full agreement for operationalization of the airline in Ghana. Ethiopian Airlines as a strategic partner, some of the roles we envision for them is the supply of aircraft, part of management, and then operations of the airline. So these are the things that we're expecting them to come on board with the project.
Okay, but besides Ethiopian Air, are there other partners we should be expecting?
Yes, we are also still speaking to other partners who have expressed interest in partnering the government of Ghana. So we are also in talk with them. When they are also ready, we'll announce it to the public when we finalize with them.
Okay, but can you tell us some of these major partners we are looking at?
Oh, we are looking at Court Aviation of South Africa. And we're also looking at Air Mauritius, and then another company called HM Technical, and a few others.
And there's some good news there for Ghana's aviation industry. Deputy Aviation Minister Kwabena Dakumensa telling us about the decision to select Ethiopian Airlines for the new home-based carrier. We'll be staying glued to this particular development and bring you up to speed as the news unfolds. Now, away from that, a team of hydropower and solar power engineers from Germany is in Wenchi in the Bonahafo region to undertake a detailed feasibility study for the proposed 55 megawatts hydroelectric dam and solar farm. The $120 million project, which also includes the construction of an eco-tourism site and an airstrip, is expected to create 2,000 jobs for the teeming youth of the region. JoyNews' Nesta Kafuya Juma joined the team of engineers to inspect various sites earmarked for the project and has filed this report.
The private-led initiative under Tapcon Ghana Limited is aimed at boosting the industrialization drive of the Wenchi municipality. Chief Executive Officer of Tapcon Ghana Limited, Ohiniba Dr. Krebre Boatin Tebiri, says his company is working tirelessly with their German counterparts in order to meet the timelines for the projects.
By January, we will get the feedback on the whole technical reports, and the EPC contractor was also in the meeting. They are also ready. As soon as we get the reports, we close finance in February, and by March, April, the construction starts. We have a training program inside there for the young technical people. During the planning and designing phase, we are going to engage as many young people as possible. So that means during construction supervision phase, we still will engage so many young technical people from the district, if possible, and then they will be part of it, so that by the time we get to operation and maintenance, we don't have a problem of Ghanaians trying to run their own affairs. That is important. So it's a 55 megawatt system, 5 megawatts for the hydro, and then solar is 50 megawatts.
He further stated the energy generating component of the projects will immensely augment electricity from the national grid.
We will have one big dam that can support 2 districts, the Soko district and the Wenchi district. We will also be able to get a lot of people in the agriculture to have value-added agriculture along the dam, because there will be enough water for agriculture. At the same time, the solar power can generate enough energy so that we can sell in order to sustain the whole total program and be able to sustain the job creation efforts.
Matthias Haider is the lead engineer from Germany.
It's a very interesting project, having lots of components, yeah. And the components for my concern are the solar and the hydropower plant. And yesterday we did a site visit, trying to see as much of the site as possible. We identified several options for dam sites, for powerhouse sites, and so on. These we visited, made we took comprehensive pictures, yeah, so that I have now an idea of what to do. We're going to do now a very nice analysis on what option is the best. We will identify it, we will optimize it, and go forward with the project. Yeah, and the same we will do for the solar plant, so that we can move ahead, and Dr. Tabiri can move ahead with the project. Well, basically, our job will be done in the course of the next 4 months. After this time, you will have, or the doctor will have, some feasibility study for both the solar and the hydro component. On the basis of this, we can move forward.
For JoyNews, Nesta Kafui Ajuma reporting from Wenchi.
Now gulp down your favorite fufu with chicken, goat meat or pork, and you could be enriching other economies. Ghana spends close to $500 million every year importing meat from Europe and Burkina Faso. Out of this, chicken alone contributes more than $300 million. Ahead of this year's Farmers' Day celebration, Odilia Ntiamwa takes a look at the high cost of importing livestock and poultry products.
So any good fufu should be going with some solid livestock. Well, I do mine with either chicken, goat meat, or indeed my favorite domedo, pork. But guess what? About 11 million chicken is slaughtered in this country every single year, and only 900,000 of these chicken are produced in Ghana. It means we fall short of over 10.1 million heads of chicken every single year. That's actually developing the economy of others at the detriment of ours. Also, the Ministry of Agriculture has plans under the Planting for Food and Jobs program. We'll be going out there to find out from the minister exactly what they're doing to actually shore up the figures to make sure that the agri sector actually has some increased growth. The Ministry of Agriculture, as at 1998, indicated that more than 90% of all livestock consumed in Ghana were imported. Recent figures, as at 2013, have moved the numbers to some 30% local production against 70% importation. Apart from the 1998 figures from an agricultural census, Ghana is currently conducting one which will give a true picture of the state of livestock. Hundreds of goats packed at the back, and in fact, this room is full of different kinds of meat. And guess what? Jafamco is indicating that all of this will go away by the end of the Christmas. So there's a huge appetite for livestock in this country. So why cannot we just grow all of this or rear all of this right here in this country is the question that I'm off to go and find out from the Ministry of Agriculture. What are the linkages? Why can't we have the whole value chain linked so that if someone can produce meat in northern Ghana, they know that they can be bought by, well, slaughterhouses like this place. A major setback for the livestock sector has been access to finance. The poultry industry, with the most import, has only 5% local production. The problem has been feed and not market. Local producers are doing about 900,000 chickens a year. At the Agric Ministry, the minister tells me there's a solution in sight as Ghana launches the Rearing for Food and Jobs in 2019. But before then, he paints a picture of the livestock sector.
We are talking about the demand of the equivalent of 11 million heads of chicken. And in Ghana today, we don't even have 900,000. So the demand is there. It's just waiting to happen. But it's waiting to happen when the price the table is reasonable for the consumer. And that can only happen if we have enough sufficient supplies of feed at reasonable prices. And these arrangements that I'm talking about will enable that to happen. In addition to that, you know that about 2 weeks ago, the president launched the Ghana Commodity Exchange. That's also precisely to create a market to ensure that we have enough, we have the market for the ingredients, which is the maize, soya, and other commodities. And that is also another way of an institutional arrangement to support what we are trying to do to revive the poultry industry.
The Rearing for Food and Jobs is part of a 5-pronged approach to achieving the Planting for Food and Jobs. It's expected to provide the magic wand in plugging the gaping hole in the livestock sector. When the program is launched next year, the ministry will not dole out money to farmers, but feed which they need the most.
It is ironic that 20 years ago, Ghana used to export meat, poultry meat, and eggs to neighboring countries. Now we only produce 5%, less than 5% of our total demand for chicken. We import about 160,000 metric tons of chicken worth over $320 million a year. These figures translated into heads of chicken are 11 million heads of chicken a year equivalent that we import into this country. So we are very down on it, and the reason is very simple. The basic ingredient for livestock production, for poultry production, which is the feed, which constitute nearly 80% of cost of production, we are having to rely on imports of feed. And of course, if you are importing your feed, which is your basic product, you don't expect to be able to compete with imports. So Planting for Food and Job, what is done is to really increase production of maize that has everywhere from every region is going up considerably.
Yellow maize?
Well, maize, yellow maize, whatever maize, that is one component. The other component is soya beans. And soya beans, we are well short of what we need in order to make an impact on poultry feed. So the coming year, 2019, we are going to focus largely on the increasing soya production in order to match the increase in maize, to enable us to start making an impact on poultry. In fact, this is why we've held back on the issue about the poultry, the livestock development component, which is the Rearing for Food and Jobs. Adodankwa Akufo-Addo, through his vision, has been able to revive the idea. So you may have heard that last 10 days or 2 weeks ago, he went to their farm plains at Wawase to look at the new enclosure which has been built, and it's really a beautiful sight to behold. That now that we are moving into the dry season, the Fulanis are now bringing their cattle into these enclosures and being supplied with food, with water, with veterinary services and so on, and that would help to diffuse the tension between the local crop farmers and the Fulani cattle owners and herdsmen. Now, this is on a pilot basis. This Wawase establishment can take 6,000 heads of cattle.
By April 2019, 80 warehouses will be added to the buffer stock storing maize, and this could be released to poultry farmers.
We have revived the buffer stock company, which is now in charge of the new warehouses that we are putting up. We are putting up 80 warehouses of 1,000 metric ton capacity each, and by March, April, I'm hoping to take charge of these warehouses and then hand them over to Buffer Stock Company. Buffer Stock Company has licensed over 1,000 companies and individuals to buy from farmers and bring the produce to their warehouses under the arrangement that we have. So with these surpluses, of course, Buffer Stock is supplying Ministry of Education, free HSS and school feeding and all those things. But we would have the stocks to manage, to support farmer prices at the farm gate. And of course, these stocks will then be an input into poultry farmers signing an agreement eventually with the buffer stock company to supply them with the maize and soya bean at very reasonable prices, because they will be buying and selling as we go along. And then to guarantee poultry farmers a certain minimum amount of feed.
At Jafamco and Abattoir, the CEO is worried access to finance for the agri sector is little, and that is why they are performing abysmally, especially at the livestock sector.
Government have a lot of ways giving such people a loan or something. I think the interest rate will be a bit affordable, so we can move forward. Because in Ghana, at the bank, now interest rate of 35%, and now say interest rate or more than that. How a butcher or a farmer can pay this back? And you never go. Maybe I mean, call bank that so more money set 40% interest rate and now 35. Me call that because I know definitely. So many government support that money you can pay because you mano kapre simple na ebe kan say cd kakra be na de da so wo mu enti mo a wo be ye no na che say wo ko wanu but ofiti preko bank na interest rate one charges you never into wo ko ni bia enye board nko bank enko so okoje bank loan that but aban wo nhihye bebra interest rate no e wo form kakra se de tibia kwa ni betimi. I think we can move forward and save
when ya sa facility we be done
me nya be that me go so ma apply bebre from buy tremoko me apply anye we so aba me go so me apply into e de nya
the way he no apply be done.
You know once ye wo Exim Bank loan, for example, if you pay 5, 10, 12% as a butcher or a farmer, no matter how, you can pay that money back. There was a stimulus package. I have applied for it, and no government will be for 10%.
For him, the ministry should contact people in the sector to draw proper linkages in the value chain when pushing for the agenda of rearing for food and jobs.
And so all eyes will be at Tamale in the northern region for this year's celebration of the National Farmers' Day. And that's it for the Marketplace today. Many thanks for watching. My name is Emmanuel Afwachi.